outcomes often fall into the following categories, as I've been mentioning: behaviors, what people do; attitudes, what they feel; skills, their competencies; and knowledge, what they know. So another acronym to help you is BASK. So take a moment now to think about a program that you are running or intend to run, and about the participants, and think about what the outcomes would be in terms of participants' behaviors. What will they do when they are done with your intervention? What will they feel? What capacities will they have that they didn't have before? And what knowledge will they have? Another form of outcomes language, if this is more appealing to you or it speaks to you better, we sometimes can talk about outcomes in terms of head, and the language, the verbs that we would use in creating outcome statements dealing with knowledge or the head are that participants will identify 3 kinds of professional development. They will understand the importance of evaluation. They will assess the relative merits of these different approaches. They will know where to find resources on multiple intelligence. Heart or attitudes. So the verbs that you would use in creating those kinds of outcome statements are that participants will be confident in their ability to apply strategies involving multiple intelligence. They will be less apprehensive about using technology in professional development. They will be less worried about how to find time to do evaluation in the course of their work. They will be empowered to use their skills that they developed in this session. In terms of hands, which are behaviors and skills, upon completion of this professional development opportunity, participants will go ahead and participate in other forms of professional development for which this provided a foundation. They will advocate for the use of evaluation or the incorporation of evaluation in planning and designing programs. They will reflect upon the implementation of their programs after they conduct them using an after-action review form. They will develop outcome statements for each of their programs. They will be able to conduct a professional development session on the use of evaluation for their staff. They will manage. They will lead. So here are some examples for each of the areas that I just covered briefly. You can read them for yourself. So knowledge. Again, this is not getting to the point of this is basic, and this is not making any judgments about their ability to apply knowledge, but just that they know it and they have it. They have knowledge that they did not have before. Attitudes. Again, you can read these. These are the feelings that you hope to influence as a result of their participation in your program. And finally, the behaviors. These are the behavioral measures, the behavioral outcomes, what they will be able to do, and what they will actually not only be able to do, what they will do after participating in your workshop or professional development opportunity. So a tool that you can use in your planning to develop your outcomes is this outcomes matrix. Along the vertical axis, you see the 3 domains: head, heart, and hands, or knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors or skills. And across the horizontal axis, you see the time period, so that immediately participants in, let's say, this webinar will know about the 3 domains in which one can develop outcomes. They will on an intermediate level, they will know how to apply these domains, or to think about their work in terms of these domains. In terms of attitudes, and this could go anywhere along the spectrum, their capacity, their feeling that they are enabled to use this language is increased. They will feel like they are empowered to use the language of outcomes. They will feel less stressed when they are told that an outcomes measurement is required. And then in terms of hands, skills or behavior, they will have the ability to create outcomes measures. Maybe that's short term, they apply it in the workshop, but intermediate and long term, they actually will use these skills in the field. So as you develop outcome statements, you may want to consider the following questions. How do you know that you're successful? What is it, in layman's terms, that your program participants will know, feel, and or do differently after your program? When do you think you'll know that you've achieved success? What do you think will happen right after the program as they walk out? What might you expect to happen after they go home and they had time to synthesize and or apply what they learned? Are your outcomes realistic, given the scope and or depth of the program? How expert can you really expect them to become with a one-shot workshop versus with a long-term intervention that includes mentoring and coaching? What other factors might you need to consider that could contribute to or hinder your indicators of success? Again, what other kinds of interventions might be needed to support the learning that they initially have in a Yomi-Yun or a day of learning? Are the outcomes that you stated specific and concrete enough to be measured, or are they vague and unfocused so that you aren't going to be able to come up with instruments and gauges in order to know whether you've achieved them? And again, how realistic are your outcomes considering what you're doing and the resources you have to expend? So I'm going to take a few minutes and throw out some examples of outcome statements. They are purposefully created with limitations and weaknesses, all of them that I'm going to be presenting. I will present them, give you a chance to reflect on your feelings about where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are, how you might improve them, give you a little feedback, my thinking, and then give you opportunities to write your own outcome statements and analyze them. So here's a poor example of an outcome statement, admittedly.